Welcome to Area Happy Hour. Here are your hosts, Jacob Bell and Hunter Sleppy.
Welcome back, everybody. Area Happy Hour, episode 2. I'm Jacob Bell, joined as always every week with my boy Hunter Sleppy. Hunter, week 2, episode 2 in the books. About to start recording, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. We're doing this a little late. We just finished watching the Eldora Million. They had races get rained out Wednesday night, and they did it Thursday. And man, there a lot of races, a lot of good stuff. Old JD Davenport won the Eldora Million, so we're kind of
Our
running.
boy Ryan Swan's favorite driver, JD.
Yeah, shout out Ryan Swan and JD. They let him in the door. But yeah, we're running a little late on this. For me, it's almost 2 a.m. on a Friday, but
Yep.
I don't care. I'm up. I'm wired. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, we got a pretty good show for you guys today. We're gonna recap this week in area at Charlotte. We have an awesome interview with David Wiseheart that we recorded on Tuesday after he won his race. Actually, we recorded on Monday after he won the Cup Series race at Charlotte. We're gonna recap the NASCAR race from last weekend and preview the NASCAR race coming up at Sonoma. Preview our race coming up at COTA next week, and then also we're gonna recap our picks from last week. See how we fared and make our picks for next week's race at COTA. So let's go ahead. Let's jump right into it, Hunter. Monday night, already mentioned it. We got David Wiseheart interview coming up next, but it was the Cup race, Lee Entertainment Cup Series, and David Wiseheart did what we thought was going to be impossible for the next few weeks, and he actually held off Jake Nichols to pick up his first win of the season.
Yeah, Jake is obviously one of those drivers to always keep an eye out for. He's got a 7,200 I rating. It's literally the highest in the field. He was a pro NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing driver, so he knows his way around a good bit of these racetracks, and especially Charlotte. But yeah, Nichols only led one lap. David Weissler led
Yeah.
115 of the 140 laps. Just an absolutely dominating race from Weishart.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Nichols only leading one. He had to start 21st, which I peeked at the broadcast because I don't even qualify on Monday nights. I like to start in the back and just try to finish the damn thing. But I was watching it, and you guys were showing Nichols, and on his second lap, he was looking really strong. Got up into the outside wall, killed his qualifying run right there. And I think that really affected his entire race, having to come from the back because we didn't really have a lot of cautions on Monday night.
No, we only had 4, but they were all like, back to back to back. But we would have solid runs in the beginning and then at the very end, a long run to finish it out. I was just waiting for Jake Nichols to kind of I know I know he saved his tires up before in previous races, then right at the very end drives right up to the front and steals the win.
Yep.
But that kind of didn't happen. I was kind of caught off guard by that a little bit, but yeah, got to give props to Weishart for driving one whale of a race.
Yeah, and we thought watching, there at the end that Nichols had a little bit saved there. We had that, I think, a later caution and had an opportunity at him. But Wiseheart, man, he held him off. He drove a good race. We actually kind of, well, not really we, more so I was hyping up David and that whole team going into this week. I said David Wiseheart Racing is going to be really strong on Monday night. They'll probably have the most cars in the top 5. I kind of was right. They split. We had 5 different. No, actually, it was Fazekas had a third from Alan Balancino and a fourth from Dominic DeLeo. So I guess they actually had the most cars in the top 5. But ultimately, Wiseheart won the race. My pick was Cameron Hearn. He ended up finishing 7th. Your pick was James Scioli. I actually got into the caution that ended James's. Well, not really ended James's night, but ended our night in terms of winning the race. He ended up 17th. Garrett was looking strong. Chris was looking strong, but ultimately it came down to the boss man picking up the dub. And then we kind of touched on this a little bit last week, and we'll get into the points too here in a second for the Cup Series. But we talked about how Tyler Nichols does that just perfect job of kind of hanging around in these races and being there at the end and finishing top 10. 6th place finish, Charlotte on Monday night after starting 25th. Right on cue. Right on brand for him.
Oh, absolutely. And, we talk about his brother a lot, Jay, because he's always up there. Tyler does a good job at, staying out of trouble, keeping his car clean. And, props to him. Got a solid finish, P6. Really helping him and that Solar Flare team out a lot.
Yeah, and because of that, when you look at the standings now, you see Jake Nichols at the top. David Wiseheart, Cameron Hearn, Dominic DeLeo, and James Scioli top five. And then sixth place, Tyler Nichols. He's got 4 top tens on the season, no top fives, but he's hanging in there. And then when you look at the playoff picture, it's really starting to get tight around that 10th spot. And Hunter, I think one thing that we got to keep in mind for these Cup Series points is where our winners shake out. There was a moment where Brad Slaughter Jr., he had the win, but he slipped outside the top 20. He's now worked his way back up to 15th. Ryan Hartz right now has a win, and he is in that 20th position, so there's a chance he slips out. And remember, an area for these guys to make the playoffs, they have to stay in the top 20 and have a win for it to be, the thing that qualifies them for the playoffs. So that battle is going to come down to the wire. And obviously, we talk to Ryan Swan all the time, and he's sitting there in that 8th spot, and he's not feeling comfortable about it one bit.
No, no, absolutely not. But that if that does happen, where Hearts is out the top 20, and that'll open the door for another driver, it's gonna get pretty intense. And we've only got 3 races left before the playoffs.
Yeah, and one of those being COTA next week, and then Nashville, which is probably the most normal track because the week after that we have Talladega to end the regular season. So it's gonna come down to the wire, and I just know that Talladega race is gonna be drama filled.
Oh, every series it's going to be drama filled because you're going to have guys that are going to give it their all, trying to win, and you're in, and then they're going to make aggressive moves, and then we're going to have big wrecks. We're going to have cars flipping and dipping and whatnot, and then we'll have some upset drivers afterwards. But that's part of it being a cutoff race at a super speedway, where it gives everyone basically a fair shot at trying to win.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to go into the cutoff race for the playoffs at Talladega, and we're going to look at somebody in like the 7th, 8th, ninth place spot, right around that range, and we're going to say, oh, they're a lock. They're totally going to make it in. And then next thing we know, they're going to wreck early in the race, finish dead last. Somebody outside the top 15 is going to get the win and just completely jumble up the standings and knock somebody out there at the last moment. But that's still a couple weeks away. So we wanted to touch there on the Cup Series and how their race went on Monday night, and then Tuesday night we switched it over to the Truck Series. Hunter, it was a pretty good race, honestly. A lot of different strategies going on. We had Brad Sauter and Colin Fambro being the beneficiaries of taking tires at the right time. They somehow knew when that last caution was going to come, and they were like the only 2 to come down pit road, and because of that, they were able to outlast everybody and finish 1-2 with a pretty big margin back to Ryan Hartz there in third.
Yeah, I gotta say, excuse me. Like I said, it is about 2 a.m. here when we're recording this, so I'm good. But yeah, I'm looking through here. Slaughter led 34 laps. Ryan Hartz led 37. Garrett Graham led the most at 39.
Yeah,
Good
Garrett
way the
was
drivers.
upset.
Yeah.
Garrett, I talked to him after the race, and he was very upset, and he said, "Damn it, man! This was my shot to win." And he felt like just because he didn't take tires at the right time, it kind of cost him, and he felt like he got screwed out of that race, and felt bad for the guy leading the most laps. Obviously, you think you're in the right spot, and just a little decision like that altered his race. Brad was very opportunistic there, and was able to hold him off. And Fambro had a good charge there at the end too. So it was kind of coming down to the wire. It was a lot like Gateway, I felt like, where I could get about half a second away from Brad at that last run, and then it was kind of more so just Brad managing that gap back to second to make sure he won.
Yeah, and Brad winning back-to-back races, it's obviously going to boost him and his confidence going into the playoffs, and try to defend that truck championship that he had from season 1.
Yeah, and the best thing about season 1, and Brad will bring this up every now and then. I don't know if everybody listening knows this, but Brad Slaughter Jr. won the Truck Series championship in season 1, obviously. The most impressive thing to me was that he led the points every single week in that series. And you wouldn't really know it from the way the races went. We had a lot of different winners, a lot of good racing up front. But Brad won the season opener at Daytona and just was in first the entire way to the end. This season's been a little different. Him and Paul Irvin have been swapping the points lead back for pretty much this entire year. But now, like you mentioned, Brad gets the back-to-back wins. He's now got a 19-point cushion on Paul Irvin, who finished outside the top 10 at Charlotte on Monday night. So that's obviously, like you said, that's building his confidence. That regular season championship is huge this season, Hunter, because in each series now, last season, the regular season champion got 15 playoff points. This season, it's 30. So all of these positions are doubled, and it really means a lot more. And when you look at the playoff races, you got Martinsville, you got Charlotte Roval. Those playoff points are gonna really be key to try and to try to keep you alive through those races and in between each round.
Yeah, it's a lot more valuable than it was. Wow, I didn't realize that it was 30 points now. That is
Yep.
huge.
Yeah, we got 30 points for the regular season title. I want to say 15 for second, 12 for third, or something like that along those lines. I probably should know the numbers a little bit better, but it's a lot of points, man. And each win is also 5 points, 5 playoff points to your bucket. So Brad's got, if he's able to hold on for this regular season championship, I mean, we are going to Talladega. He is notoriously good at the restrictor plate tracks. Maybe he gets another win there. That's, 3 wins, 15 playoff points there, and the championship would be 30. You're talking about 45 playoff points. That's a whole race pretty much of a buffer.
Yeah, and you mentioned how good he is at super speedways. He won the Area 500, the first Cup race of the season, and then after that, he's like, I really wasn't gonna do the whole Cup schedule, but after winning that, well, why not? And now we'll be going after it for not only the Truck Series but the Cup Series as well.
Yeah, and speaking of the touching on building confidence, like Brad Slaughter, Fambro, another second place run. He just keeps getting closer and closer, and it's kind of crazy when you look at some of the past winners in area, and you look at just the varying level of drivers we have, and then you see Colin Fambro without a win. You just know his time is right around the corner. Rounding up our top five from Charlotte Tuesday night, Ryan Hart's in third, Cameron Hearn in fourth, and Ed Robertson in fifth in just his second truck race. So Ed actually talked to me a couple weeks ago. He said he's not able to run the Lodge Box Series anymore on Thursday nights, so he switched over to Tuesday nights. Obviously not playoff eligible, but he's having some fun playing down in the Truck Series.
Yeah, Ed's always been a solid driver, and seeing him now go to the Truck Series due to other circumstances, I mean it's different to see, and he's doing a good job so far. Second start, starting
Top
the
five
top
tonight
10 at
or Tuesday.
starting yeah starting the top 10 in the 10th spot. Got home that top 5 finish. So who knows? Keep an eye on the Muffin Man in the Truck Series.
Yep. Well, and then speaking of the Lodge Box Series, that race just wrapped up tonight about a couple hours ago, and Hunter Sleppy was on the call with Harold Darner up in the booth on our Twitch channel, and you got to see Alan Elwood score the victory. I don't know what the title was for this race, but we should have just called it the new guy like 300 because we had I think 7 guys making their first start.
Oh, it might have been 6 or 7 guys, but yeah, it had a bunch of new faces in it. It's always good to see that, especially for the Lodgeback series, because the car count kind of lower in this
Yep.
series compared to say the Truck Series or the Cup Series. We had 34 cars entered for tonight's race, and that was something different. Good to see all the
Most of
new
the
faces
season.
out there. Yeah. Mhm.
And Charlotte being the free track that comes with iRacing, it's typically, from my years of league racing, I would say you kind of always see like a jump at those kind of tracks in terms of car count. But yeah, we had those 7 guys show up and a lot of controversy there. I think we had 6 cautions tonight, yeah, and I think 4 of them I want to say was guys making their first start. I was actually up in the admin tower with Brad Slaughter and Ryan Hartz, and Eric Wineland was up there for a little bit. And I talked to those guys after the race that were making their first start. I was telling him, look, when it's your first race out here, goal number one should be just don't have your name called. You don't want to be in a caution. You don't want to cause a caution. You just want to finish the race. If you get a top 10, great. And then you move on and you kind of start earning the respect of your fellow drivers, the guys who have been here. And kind of maybe fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of the guys that were making their first start tonight, we've had a lot of experience with in the past. Brody Hayes, the Lipster brothers, a lot of those guys raced over in Extreme. And obviously that's where a big core of our community came from. So there was that prior experience, and definitely made for some interesting, on track activity where, we saw Brody Hayes and Danny Ware going after one another. And Danny takes a lot to get wound up, but man, he got pretty wound up with that tonight. So we'll kind of see where that goes going forward. Who, the admin team decides to let race next week at COTA. But nonetheless, let's talk about the top 5. Alan Elwood, Davey Hendricks, Shane Thurin, and Elwood Designs Esports 1, 2, 3. Then Bryce Senesac and David Wiseheart rounding them out.
Yeah, Elwood Designs, those drivers, they're always fast up there for the Lodgeback series, and especially Allen. He missed Rockingham the last time because he was actually in Charlotte for the Coke 600, and his seats were like on the opposite end of the quad oval when Bush's flip happened. But he went to a great race, but he had to unfortunately miss Rockingham, and that's what allowed Wiseheart to get the victory. And Wiseheart was able to come back for tonight, and I think he's going to do a little more of the Lodge Box series from here on out. But Allen, he missed last week, and he didn't want to let that go away. Like missing a race and um just didn't sit right with him, and he decided, I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna lead the most laps. He did just that because
Yeah.
it was between either him or Davey Hendricks. Shane Thierry was close, but really couldn't quite make a move. And right before Elwood made the move on Hendricks for the lead, I'm like, do you think Harold? Do you think that he'll sit back and let Davey win, or is he going to try and go at it? And literally, as soon as I ended my sentence, he pulled out line on the backstretch, made the move, and got the lead. I'm like, well, there goes that. He's going for the win.
Well, and what's crazy, like you said, he missed last week's race or 2 weeks ago, I guess, race at Rockingham, and there's a chance he still ends up with the regular season championship. He's second in points right now after missing a race, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. It's kind of like giving up, 30, 40 points, like spotting the field an extra 30 points. And not seeming to be an issue for Mr. Elwood. So third win of the season tonight. The only driver in the Lodge Box series with multiple wins. So tonight was race 9, and we've had 7 different winners already. He's the only one that's won more than one race. So he's definitely making his mark on the series. Then how about Adam Capps, Hunter? I heard you talking about him on the broadcast tonight.
Yeah, he got up there in the top 5 for the most part and was running in second at one point. It looked like he was going to take the lead away from Davey Hendricks, but Adam Capps, he runs like middle-ish in the pack most weeks, but it was just refreshing to see a new face up there. Him and Danny Ware, they were both deep in the Lodge Box Series points coming into the race, and they were both having solid top 5 runs. And that was kind of through the first cycle of green flag pit stop. I was looking through, and it was going to cycle through. Okay, it's going to be Scioli, Elwood, uh, Danny Ware, and Adam Capps. I'm like, oh, did Capps even pit? Oh, Capps pitted. Okay. I don't know why. You just don't expect that from time to time. And this time it was a little different for Adam Capps, and he had a really fast car. Sucks they didn't get a top 5 because he deserved it. And I mean, since the second half of the race, he was up there inside the top 5. But I just gotta give props to him because he had a really, really solid race tonight.
Yeah, gets the sixth place finish. His first top 10 of the season moves him all the way up to 15th place in points. So he's right outside of that playoff bubble. And you got to remember, Ed Robertson is one of those guys who's locked in, but he is actually not going to be able to run the rest of the season. So he's going to drop out. So when you put that into place, that actually makes Adam Capps effectively 14th in the standings. So looking at that, he's got Joe Hazard in front of him, Rick Christensen, and Forrest Smith. If he's able to, have string a couple good runs together next week at COTA, and then Nashville and Talladega, we might be talking about Adam Capps in the playoffs. But he has notoriously said that he prefers the Xfinity cars. It seems to be where he has his best runs. That, and as well as the ARCA series last season. So it was like you said, it was good to see him have a good run tonight. Also, really good to see Garrett Grant, pretty strong tonight. Ricky Harden, good to see him back in the series with the top 10. Jordan Martin with a ninth place finish, and then Chris Sida finding rounding out the top 10, and then a new guy. Best, I guess we got to give him some kind of award, right? He was the best new guy tonight. Matthew Rodriguez, first start, finishes 11th. And that's what you want. Kind of what I was trying to tell, a couple of the other guys. Matthew Rodriguez, we didn't call his name all night, wasn't in a caution, didn't cause a caution, finishes 11th, runs all the laps, moves on to next week. That's how you kind of earn your stripes, I feel like.
Yeah, he was up there towards the top 10 for a little bit of the night. It's really stayed out of trouble, just kind of feeling the car out. But I gotta give props to Willie Nelson as well. That now,
Yep.
no, not the country music singer. His name is actually Willie Nelson. I thought that was super cool. But he
Yeah,
was up
Willie, he
there.
ran. Yep.
I was gonna say he was up there in the top 10 as well, and then he had that little dust up with Brody Brody Hayes and Danny Ware. And Brody Hayes, gotta give props to him too. He qualified on the pole and slowly fell back towards the top 5, top 10 ish. Then he had that run in with Danny Ware, but I feel like him, Willie Nelson, and Matthew Rodriguez, they all three of those guys had solid nights for the most part in their first start.
Yeah, Willie, he ran back with us back in the Extreme Motorsports days. He everybody iconic name there for Willie. I mean, how could you not mention that's his name?
It's like Tim Richmond in the Arca series.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those names that just stands out, and you're like, is that? I think there was a couple guys first couple seasons in Extreme when he was there. You kind of double take and you ask, is that Willie Nelson racing with us? Doesn't really add up, but is it? But yeah, so that was rounding out our Thursday night race in our Lodge Box series. And with that, Hunter, I do want to throw it over to the interview we had on Monday with David Wiseheart. Fantastic interview, talked about a lot of cool stuff, got into the teams, got into, him leaving Samson Motorsports to start his own team, who his vetting process was for the drivers he picked. It was a really good conversation, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll cut the chit chat and we'll let the interview go and speak for itself.
What's up, everybody? We are here now with David Wiseheart after his big win tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. David finally got you a victory here in the Cup Series in Season 2, able to hold off Jake, man. Talk about your race and kind of what it felt like to actually, hold off Jake and get that victory out of the way.
Yeah, it feels nice. It been a long time coming. The season hasn't started off exactly how I wanted it to. I've been in position a few times, me and my teammate James, and some cautions just haven't fell our way. So it was nice to get the monkey off my back and to hold off, the fastest guy in the league was a bonus tonight.
Yeah, it's funny because we actually scheduled to do this interview and have David on before the race happened. And then he actually went out and won tonight, Hunter. So I feel like we're going to have a crowd of people now trying to get on the podcast next week because they want to get to victory lane.
I was going to say, I was thinking, during the race, I'm like, wouldn't that be cool if he won and then we brought him on and,
Yeah.
it actually happened. It was pretty neat to see.
So, David, we kind of want to go kind of deeper into the background outside of just the on-track stuff and kind of, what really got you into iRacing in the first place. So what was that thing that kind of brought you over to iRacing? I know for me, it was, watching it when Dale Jr. was starting and I just got super into that. I was playing video games and I was like, I got to get into iRacing. And that's kind of what got me over. But, what brought you over here?
To be honest with you, it was my brother Chris. I had heard about iRacing before, but I had mostly just done a bunch of console things. And we went over to, me and my buddy Garrett Grant went over to his house one day, and he had this little bitty wheel. It was like the real wheel rotation only went 90 degrees to the left, 90 degrees to the right. It had no force feedback. It was a wheel
he was on the Ryan Swan settings.
yeah, for sure. It was a wheel that I had back when I was a kid. I used to play like NASCAR Racing 4, like on the PC, like before NR 2003. And he was like, "Hey man, I've got iRacing and I got this wheel. Let's try to get on it." So we shared his account for a while, and I was like, I got to get my own account, and I got to get that for myself. So that's how I started on iRacing back in 2017. Started off on a little T150 and graduated to bigger and better things from that point. So it's been a fun ride. I've had some success. So
in 2017, I thought, I joined back in 2013. I thought you would have been around that time too, considering, how quick you are normally. So 2017 wasn't that long ago.
No, it really wasn't. And I was a little late to the bandwagon. I know a lot of people have had it a lot longer than I have. So it's been a fun ride though. It's my favorite hobby. I've dumped a lot of money into this, and I enjoy it quite a bit.
I thought he was gonna say I dumped a lot of people doing this. I don't know why I was gonna say that.
My early days, I've probably done quite a bit of that too, man.
So 2017, you get iRacing and you get all set up, and then you finally get your own account. What brought you into Extreme? Because I know that was the first league that we were a part of together, and a lot of people that are in area now were initially a part of Extreme Motorsports. Back around that time. What kind of brought you into that league, and then transitioned you all the way over to area?
Yeah, so me and Garrett and Chris's buddy Travis McDaniel, he had a league, and we were just happened to be in an official race with him. And we're all Louisville Cardinal fans because that's the local team. That's where we're from. We're from Southern Indiana. Yeah, right across the river from Louisville. So we've been Louisville supporters, and his was a college football league. Like you ran the scheme of your favorite team, which iRacing now does. They do the college series. So that's kind of where it all started. And then he was on active duty, so he had to go deploy and couldn't run anymore. And we were looking for another league to run in, and he had run an Extreme before, and recommended that to us, and we went over there, and a lot of the rules he had in his league came over from Extreme, so it was a pretty seamless transition at that point.
Yeah, and then that's obviously where you and me met. Was racing at Extreme, and we were there for a while. And then obviously, I know how we all came over to area, but kind of explain to all those guys listening, what that transition was like for you on your end, and from Samson Motorsports end, really, because that was the team you were on, to going from Extreme over to area. What caused it? What made you guys go and make the jump? And kind of talk to us about that time.
Yeah, it was I ran one season on my own and in Extreme, and then the Extreme started that team deal, and Curtis approached me at Samson, and we all joined from that point. We had some good success over there, but as far as when it comes to coming over to area, there was some behind the scenes issues that we were having disagreements on, and we just felt like that this was going to be a better opportunity. You put it all together, and we just felt like it was going to be like from rivalry racing to Extreme. It was a seamless transition. When you approach us about it, we couldn't wait to get on board. We were one of the frontline teams over here. So it was a smooth transition. It's been a fun ride so far.
Yeah, always say you, Curtis, and that whole Samson, bunch initially was really like the group that kind of helped jumpstart this whole thing. Because without you guys fully committing, it probably wouldn't even went anywhere. But anyways, back to Curtis. You were saying how you drove for Samson initially in Extreme. How did that all happen? How'd you get on Samson Motorsports? How did Curtis approach you, and what was that conversation like?
Yeah, I didn't even know Extreme was going to go to the team deal. I hadn't heard anything about it yet. And it was after one race. I don't exactly remember what race it was, but he approached me after a race and was like, "Hey man, would you want to race for us? Extreme starting this team deal. We really like you in the Cup Series," because I was still in the Truck Series at this time, and I was, I don't, not to sound arrogant, but I was kind of tearing it up down there, and he approached me to do that, and I did it, and I was like, "Hey man, I got a buddy over here. He's pretty good. My brother, we're pretty much a package deal." So I got on there and brought them with me, and we had a bunch of success over there. That was I really enjoyed my time over there. That was a lot of fun. We won a couple team championships in a row. I personally won a couple championships over there. So those are memories that I look back on very fondly.
What was the team environment like for Samson at that time?
Oh, it was super laid back. Everybody that came in, we had our core drivers there, but we had a couple every year that rotated in and out, and we just made it known, and Curtis made it known. It was laid back, but everybody was expected to do their job. Don't put the team in a compromising position. Just go out there, run your race, have fun, and let the chips fall where they may. But that's what Curtis stressed: just go out there, have fun, and with your buddies. That's what we're all out here to do, and it really worked out for a long time there.
Yeah, I always try to tell people, and Hunter, don't feel afraid to jump in whenever you got something to add.
I was
But
gonna say this is all stuff that I like don't know about because I'm
yeah,
so
this
new
was
to the iRacing. I don't even have iRacing, and I'm just listening to the stories and whatnot.
well, you kind of joined with us like on the back end of Extreme, but we were there
Yeah,
for a couple years before that. But kind of back to your point there, David, about like the team thing. That's what I always try to tell people is when you have a team, in an iRacing league or something like this, I think it's so much more effective and just honestly more fun to approach it with that attitude of just, hey, just show up, do your best. If we don't win, we don't win. But let's just try to approach this as a team and not take it too serious. I really think that's the key.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's the key. I wish I could. I wish I could get a little bit of that sometimes. There's times in practice, man. If I don't win practice, there's sometimes I'm mad. If it's a track that if it's a track I really like, if I don't even win practice, I'm kind of upset. So like even tonight, I thought I had a car for the pole, and I messed it up a little bit in qualifying and ended up starting fourth, and I was beat myself up about that. But yeah, the main key behind this whole thing between the league and iRacing and all together is we're all just out here having fun.
Yeah, I was kind of signaling there. I wanted to see if Hunter wanted to jump in to ask because we wrote down some questions. And since you kind of brought up area, moving to this season, one of my questions I wrote down was how would you rank this season in your eyes so far for yourself?
Um, for myself, I give it a C plus, B minus. It's not been my best season. I had some run-ins with one driver a couple times earlier in this season, and kind of
Who was the
kind of
driver?
he who shall not be named.
Oh, that's what the podcast is for, man. We gotta get people to tune in.
I didn't really have some run-ins. I had some run-ins, but it was just hard racing for the most part with Connor O'Kresick, and he's apologized a couple times. A couple times he's apologized for something, and I've just straight up told him it wasn't his fault. It was just hard racing. But we had a few run-ins earlier in the season, but that's not a big deal. To start the season, the whole Cup Series it together was having a rough start to the season. Yeah. So but it's gotten better since then, and the season's kind of turned around a little bit. Had some clean. This is my first clean race I've had at this season. Every other race I've finished with some sort of damage. So, but like I said earlier, there's been some races that me and my teammate James have had. We've come, within an inch of having the perfect strategy, and a caution just comes out. But that's racing sometimes.
I was gonna say the run in with O'Kresick. Would you say that was kind of like your low light of the season? Because you said it did happen towards the beginning of the season, but now things are starting to like balance out.
Yeah, the one that I was actually the most upset with, and not even at him, just upset at the whole situation, was Phoenix. It was the second race of the year. I thought I had a car to win. I thought I had the best. Personally, I thought I had the best car. And then I think I got shuffled back on some strategy and some pit stops, and he made a 3-wide move towards the end of the race, which that's what it is, But I think I got a late call from my spotter and didn't know, and Brad Slaughter moved up to give Connor room, and I didn't know Connor was there, so I ended up getting in the wall. And with these Cup cars, with the next gen cars, you just can't make evasive moves like that, like you could in the old Gen 6 car. The old Gen 6 car, you can kind of toss those things around and go wherever you wanted. In this next gen car, if you have one quick twitch of a wheel to make an adjustment, and you're on the edge of wrecking. So that's what happened to me there. That's the one that stung the most, like I said, because I felt like I really had the car to win that, and it just kind of spiraled from there. It kind of set the season off on a bad note, and the next couple races just weren't that good for me. So.
And you've obviously turned it around since then, and we're ironically, like we said earlier, filming this after your first Cup win of the season. That was one of the questions I had. I think I know the answer though. Is what's been your highlight of the season? Hunter kind of referred to the low light, your run-ins with O'Kresick, week 2, just bad start to the year. But so far, what would you say has been your highlight? I think I might know the answer, but
yeah, obviously the highlight is tonight. Before tonight, if you'd asked me before the race, it would have been last week at 2 weeks ago at Rockingham.
That's what I was thinking too.
I love Rockingham. I was so looking forward to that race. But yeah, tonight's the highlight. I led 80% of the race and just had a clean, quiet race, if you can call that a quiet race. But yeah, it was a lot of fun tonight. To just go out, honestly, it was just fun to go out and have a clean race, and to get the win was just the cherry on top.
Yeah, you talked about Rockingham. That battle was something else I wanted to get into because you were definitely one of the fastest guys out there, but it looked like at the end of the race at Rockingham, Colin Fambrough, who's actually your driver on Tuesday nights on David Wiseheart Racing, he was running you down there at the end, and you had to throw some blocks, and you guys had to race elbows up those last 40 laps or so. And I know it was probably fun behind the driver's seat.
Oh yeah, Rockingham's always a lot of fun from the driver's seat. I really enjoy that track. It's really a driver's track. You got to really manage the tires, and unlike some of the tracks and the car combinations we have nowadays, it's just you don't have to ease back into the gas or ease out of it. It's just all the way in or all the way out, and there's really no repercussions for it unless you get into somebody. But yeah, I was really looking forward to that, and I know we had a spirited battle there at the end. That's hard racing. I hope he looks at it the same way. Um, I'm not one to really throw big blocks, and if that had happened early in the race, I honestly don't think I would have done that. I didn't think the block was that big anyway. Um, but we're racing for the win, and on that slippery surface, it's just. And at Rockingham, if you enter the corner too light or too hard, it makes a big difference there. And I didn't mean to run him down there on the apron. That wasn't my goal at all. I like I said, I wouldn't want that done to me, and I don't like doing that to other people. But going back to what I said earlier, I've had a rough start to the season in the Cup car, and I just go run the Xfinity races for fun. I'm not running for points. I'm not even playoff eligible anymore. So I was just looking at it to go out there and have fun, and I really wanted to win to get some momentum built back up. And luckily, it looks like that's happened. We're entering a stretch here of the season that these tracks I really enjoy racing at.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that on the broadcast tonight too. After you won at Charlotte, that this stretch, you got COTA coming up next race, and then Nashville where you won in season one coming up, and then Talladega at the end of to end the regular season. So, I mean, these next three races, what are your expectations there? Now that you have the winning cup, you're pretty much locked into the playoffs. What are you going to try to make out of COTA, Nashville, and then Talladega?
Well, obviously the goal is to win. I like COTA a lot. It's my favorite road course. I'm not a big road course guy, but if we're gonna go to a road course, that's the one I like to go to. I have pretty good success there, and like you said at Nashville, I won there last year, so I got a lot of confidence going in there. I don't like Talladega. I don't like super speedway racing. That just is what it is. But yeah, if there's any time for me to get some momentum built up, it's right now because Charlotte, COTA, and Nashville are my bread and butter, you could say, I guess.
Who would be the person to kind of steal your bread and butter? Like say your biggest rival. That's what I'm kind of hinting at. I know you had some run-ins with O'Kresick. I'm not sure if he's your biggest rival, but is there like someone on the track where you just can't stand to race around, and if it'll take like one small thing to like flip a switch and just go
Push you
all
over the
after him?
edge.
Yeah, push him over the edge.
I honestly don't know if there's one person that I can point out specifically that I just don't like racing against. I really haven't had outside of the O'Kresick stuff, and that wasn't even most of that was just hard racing. But I mean, honestly, I don't have one person that I just don't enjoy racing around in the Cup Series. But I mean, if I had to pick like a rival that's like not that I don't like racing around him, but obviously I judge everything I do almost every week off of whatever Jake Nichols is doing and whatever my teammate James Scioli is doing. I think and to an extent Cameron Hearn, those are the cream of the crop in the Cup Series. And you always got to see what they're doing and what lines they're running, how they're driving a track. So in any race, I think those three right there are the ones that I strive to beat the most. That I know if I'm going to win a race, it's got to go through those other three drivers for sure.
Is there any difference in how you race those three? Let's say it's 20 to go, and either you're tracking them down or they're tracking you down. Do you race Jake Nichols or Cameron Hearn and James Scioli? Do you race any of those three differently? For in a situation where you're racing for a win, or is it kind of just all out all the time?
Well, yeah, I'll race James Scioli a lot different. That's my car. To be
Jake,
honest
you
with
should know that.
Yeah,
well,
that's,
no, but I mean,
that's my
to
car.
Junior's,
So yeah,
to Junior Motorsports credit, they're racing each other just as hard for the win, and their teammates every week in Xfinity. So it was an honest question.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get that. But I guess the only difference it would be is if I'm racing James Scioli for the win, I may I may not do some Hail Mary dive bomb for a win, especially now that I have a win and I know he's been knocking on the door. But like if it's Jake or Cameron or anybody else, I'd probably maybe try like a last second bump and run or a last second dive bomb to get my nose in there. But if it's James, obviously I'm not going to go in there and put both of us at jeopardy. If we're having that good of a team night. So I would race any of my teammates a little bit differently. I may not be as aggressive, but obviously, and as a team, we all have, we've had a talk, when it's when the chips are on the table and the pay window's open, it's every man for himself. We got to go for it, but we also know not to wreck each other.
Well, you talked about James being one of your drivers, and that was one of the things I wanted to get to was, you came from Samson Motorsports and you were racing for Curtis Vollmer, who was your team owner, and now you're David Wiseheart racing in the Cup and the Truck Series. What was that transition like, going from Samson as a driver to going full in on the team owner aspect?
Yeah, I don't really know. It was weird. Curtis I always wanted to own my own team, even back when we were Extreme. We had talks about me owning maybe a truck team, and that was ultimately my goal. And then Kurt didn't know what he was going to do with with Samson Motorsports. He didn't know if he was going to return as a team and whatnot. And then he finally said he wasn't going to. He was like, we could race if we wanted to, but we weren't going to be racing for team points. And I just I wasn't interested in that. So I branched out and started my own team. And
what did Kurt think about that when you told him that you were going your own direction?
I didn't really have too many conversations with him about it. I think he obviously you got to kind of expect if you're not going to run for team points, you're probably going to lose some drivers. And like I said earlier, me, Garrett, and Chris were pretty much a package deal, and I thought we were going to be a 100% package deal. Me and Chris jumped on board to Chris, my brother, sponsors our team, half of our cars with his card business, so he jumped on board, and Garrett took a little convincing, but once Kurt said he for sure wasn't gonna field a team for team points, Garrett came aboard, and Kurt still, whenever he does run the trucks, he runs with our team. He doesn't collect team points for us or nothing, but he runs in the same Discord with them guys, and they all still seem to have a lot of fun racing with him. So that's good. And yeah, I mean our team's pretty stout. Most of it's pretty much Samson Motorsports, so it's just kind of rebranded almost.
How did you mentioned you and Garrett Grant and Chris Sidefiden were package deals, so you had your 3 drivers there. How'd you find your 4th? Who'd you look at? Who did you almost have? What drivers were you looking at for that 4th spot in the Cup and Truck Series?
Well, originally I was just going to field it for us 3. It was just going to be us 3. We were going to, in the Cup Series anyway, it was just going to be us and just go out there and have fun. And there was a rule change in the off season about which team drivers score points, and I was like, well, it'd be nice to have it for us. So the first person I contacted was Cameron Hearn. I knew he was probably going to be a free agent, and he's, last season was the talk of the town. He's leaving winning all the races.
Leaving that team.
Yep, leaving Elwood and leaving Infinite. And so I first contacted him, and he was kind of non-committal. It all happened really fast, and he was kind of non-committal and wanted to see what else kind of was out there. And I contacted James Scioli, the next person, and I was like, hey man, I got a spot open, because I don't want to throw all my eggs in one basket. And so I contacted James, and his response was that he wanted to drive for us, and if there was a team out there that he wanted to drive for, it would be our team. And that was my main thing. If I was going to go get a 4th driver, I wanted a driver that wanted to be on our team. So once he said that, he goes, we're the team he wants to drive for. We signed him, and James had his own success last season in the Xfinity car. He only won 1 race, but there was 1 race he dominated. He should have won, and then ended up getting disqualified. We had to restart a server, and then we restarted the server, and it gets wrecked in turn 1. So he's fast every week. He's been proving that. week in and week out so far this season in the Cup car, and he's gonna get a win. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and I also wanted to, just a fun question here. So I'm more so curious as a fellow team owner in area. If there was somebody not on your team, right? Like you could pick anybody in the series that you would want to come drive for you. Who would you pick, and why would you pick them?
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's a tough question.
It's a
If
good
they're
question,
so I can't pick any of my current guys. If I had to go outside of my team to go
Yeah,
get somebody,
outside of your team, who's the one guy? If everybody was going to say yes to you, who's the one guy you'd go to first to get on your team?
honestly, probably Brad Slaughter would be my pick. I know that's kind of a hot take or whatever you want to call it, or out of left field. But Brad's a pretty chill guy. He's quick. He's clean for the most part. Knows how to race. Has good racing etiquette. Doesn't get in any trouble. So if I had to go outside of my team, which to be clear, I'm 100% satisfied with my team. But if I had to pick, if I could just pluck anybody I wanted to, and they'd say yes, I'd pick Brad Slaughter for sure.
Hunter, I heard you had a little reaction to that.
I don't know why. I thought he was going to choose Beckner.
No. I was thinking, you were going to go towards the Cameron Hearn route again, or even, Jake Nichols is obviously probably one of the fastest guys, hands down. So I was more so curious to hear if you were going to go that route. But Brad's definitely not a bad pick either. I could see why, and he would really fit in well. I feel like with your team, just vibe wise, you know what I mean. So that's not a bad pick, I don't think. So
yeah, I mean, and I like racing against Jake. I almost like don't want him on my team for that reason. It's a challenge,
Yeah.
It's frustrating. Obviously, it's frustrating to lose to him because he's just so good. Obviously with him being a former Coke Series driver, he's so good, and it's such a challenge. It's frustrating to lose, but like tonight, it's so rewarding to outlast him there at the end of a race. So
yeah,
I like that, and I really enjoy that part of it.
What was that initial reaction when you finally, first off, when you made it to the white flag, because it was getting down to the wire there. I think it was like a 20-30 lap green flag run to the finish. So one, what was that reaction when you finally made it to the white flag and you knew it was going to end for sure? And then two, when you crossed the finish line to actually take the win?
Yeah, my first thought was just don't wall it. Just do not make a mistake on the last lap and wall it, because it did get pretty tight on the exit of the corners. So I just didn't want to make a mistake, And when I finally crossed the finish line, it was just relief that I finally got the monkey off my back. Got a win. I'm locked into the playoffs for the Cup Series. That opens up so much stuff, that I can try, especially at COTA with pit strategy. We have that, caution a third of the way through the race. So it affords you a little opportunity to try something different. I don't have to race for points anymore. So it was just, when I crossed the finish line to take the checkered, it was just a lot of weight off my shoulders.
Yeah, I totally get that. And Hunter, I kind of want to open the door. If you got anything you wanted to ask him, I have a couple of questions to end it on. But if you had anything you wanted to ask David, or if you were just kind of listening and following there.
I'm just kind of listening. I mean, quite literally, just 3 minutes ago, I got sidetracked by this. By the way, we're recording this almost at midnight on Monday, about to be Tuesday. A flock of geese literally just flew, it hovered over my house for like the last 30 seconds to a minute. I was just so flabbergasted. I'm like, it's almost midnight. What are you doing up this late? I just couldn't believe it. So I'm just kind of caught off guard by that.
I've been distracted by the constant Discord pinging as you get after every race,
I hear
in the league.
I hear it too.
Yeah, so that's been distracting me. But no, so David, man, first off, thanks for hopping on here, man. And like I said, was already scheduled before you ended up winning the race. So it just made it even better that you were able to come onto the podcast after you were able to get the win.
I did call my shot. I did call my shot today.
I
did say, you messaged me and said, hey, after the race, we're going to do this. I said, well, you're going to catch me after victory lane.
Yeah, you totally, MJ called your shot. Or Kobe, I don't know which one. One of them probably called their shots a lot, but
that was Babe Ruth. That was baseball, my guy.
Babe Ruth, yeah, okay, Babe Ruth. to kind of end it on and looking forward, what's your plans with your team for the end of this season and going into next season, and just your plans as a driver also?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Cup Series goes, the Cup guys, whoever wants to return, they're free to return. I think we've had a overall pretty good season. I think we entered tonight, third in the team points. We'd be a lot closer if just a few cautions hadn't flown when they did. We'd be a lot closer to Solar Flare in those standings. So the Cup Series, I have zero concerns with. The Truck Series, so I'm an admin in the Truck Series. Not it's I mean it's not difficult to stay unbiased, but just I just don't want. I don't know if I'll have a Truck Series next season, a truck team. It's just a lot to manage, and I don't want anybody out there, thinking I'm swaying calls and whatnot, and not to say people are, but it's just a lot to manage. I've been thinking about, instead of having a truck team, having an Xfinity team and running full-time Xfinity next season. I'm not 100% sure. I did tell my girlfriend this year I was going to cut down to 2 nights a week, and here I am.
For the most part.
Yeah. Well, here I am. I'm going to end up finishing the season, and I'm only going to be short of playoff contention for 2 races I've ran. I'll have run 10 of the 12 Xfinity races. So I just enjoy racing. It's hard for me to stay off of it,
Yeah. Well, and I know you don't want to probably touch on it too much, but just, because I'm curious as well. What is that like? Adminning the Truck Series. You have your trucks out there. You have co-admins every night. Carter Coop jumps up there. Rafe Slate jumps up there that are also not affiliated with your team. So it kind of keeps you honest within itself. But what has it been like trying to manage, that expectation that David Wiseheart Racing is in the Truck Series and David Wisehart's also an admin of the Truck Series? What has that been like?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the hardest part about the whole thing is not being too hard on my guys. I think there's been a couple times I've a couple incidents that could have gone either way, and I've called it on them, and then that even goes back to last season. You could probably ask my admin partner.
From a driver's perspective, I would agree. I know half the time a David Wiseheart Racing truck is in a caution. Most of the time the DWR truck is the one that gets deemed at fault, and even I've told you that. I've said it looks almost like you're calling it harder on your own guys, if anything.
Yeah, and I hold my drivers to a high standard. They know that. There was a incident earlier this year where one of my drivers got into it with another driver, and they were kind of going back and forth, and I had to PM them and tell them to stop. We're above all that. We're not going to get sucked into making every dispute public and all that stuff. You got a problem with him, take it up with him personally. We don't need it all over. We don't need it all over the public channels, and so I hold my team to a very high standard, and as a result of that, I probably grade them on a harsher curve. So from that standpoint, I am a little bit harsher on them, and as on the admin side of the whole thing, you could probably ask anybody in here. I'm pretty lenient with calls. I probably call more racing incidents than any other admin. Any other admin out there. I'm just not that big on getting real nitpicky tic-tac with how a call gets made. So I'm pretty lenient on that side, and we've had some drivers upset with us with some calls this year. It's kind of hard, as that second admin seat's it's been kind of like a revolving door this year in the Truck Series, and it's hard to really get any. Not really hard. We just had some inconsistency with calls made because there'll be a precedent of a certain call earlier in the season, and then the same kind of incident will happen, but it'll be someone else beside me making the call, right. And the same call doesn't get made. So we've had a couple people kind of upset with us over this season, and we're working on to get that better for sure. Obviously, all the admins they do their best to call the race as fair as they possibly can. So anybody that comes up after the race, if they got a complaint with us, we're always looking to learn how we can make things better for us and them. It makes the whole league better when that goes smoothly.
Yeah, well, first off, or I guess not first off, finally, I do want to say, man, like I said, shout out and for your win tonight, and thanks for coming on here and staying up late. I know it's past midnight for you guys on the East Coast, but man, I appreciate it. It was a pretty cool interview. I think it's going to be cool to listen back to also on the podcast, and appreciate you hopping in here, man.
All right, thanks, guys. Anytime.
I want to say for the record, I picked Scioli to win the Cup race, and I did put DWR in the chat with the channel points, so I came home big there.
Yeah. Hey, I said David Wiseheart Racing was going to be fast tonight, and technically, hey, they still got the dub. You could argue that Grant and Scioli and Sidefied and really were probably going to finish top 5. So you guys had the speed tonight, man.
Yeah. Well, you definitely put the you put the pressure on us with last week's episode. We put in quite a bit of practice. We didn't want to fall on our face, so luckily, we came home with the win with me, and like you said, I think Side and Fight was, Grant qualified second. He does not qualify well. So when I saw he qualified second, I knew he was going to be a problem. I think he got caught up in an accident with a lap car, and Side and Fight was up there at the end running, edge of the top 5, solidly in the top 10. I think he hit the wall there on the final restart, and it just kind of hampered his car. And otherwise, we were set up for at least 3 of us there in the top 5 probably. And James, he was probably going to get a solid top 10 out of it. So that was a little disappointing on that end. But sometimes that stuff just happens.
Yep. Well, hey, you got the dub anyways, man. Locked into the playoffs. So appreciate you hopping on, and I guess that'll wrap up the interview, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys. I enjoyed this podcast. I enjoyed listening last week for the first episode, and can't wait to listen to this one and all the future ones, man. So keep it going, and everybody enjoys it.
Right on, man.
That interview with David Wiseheart was brought to you by AreaIRacing.shop. Everybody listening right now, I bet you guys didn't know that we have custom merchandise for everybody in our league. Drivers, commentators even. Hunter Sleppy's got his own collection in there.
The Louisiana Dive Bomb. Had to get it in.
Louisiana Dive Bomb. Got some really cool merch there. Hoodies, stickers, shirts, long sleeves, everything. If you guys are listening, you can use discount code HAPPYHOUR at checkout. It's going to save you 10% at AreaIRacing.shop. You can go www.areairacing.shop, or you can go through our website and click on the shop button on areairacing.com. Either way, use code HAPPYHOUR at checkout. Save 10% on all orders. And want to thank AreaIRacing.shop for that interview with David Wiseheart you guys just heard. All right, Hunter, so now it's time to recap last weekend's race in NASCAR and look ahead to this weekend's race. And let's actually start with the race in Portland, since we had 2 at Gateway, 1 at Portland. I was actually in Vegas last weekend, had a great weekend, so I didn't get to watch all of Portland, but I did see what happened with Jesse Iwuji, and that definitely caught my attention.
There was a good bit. And I gotta be honest, after the first stage, I was just like, okay, it's gonna be a Ty Gibbs domination. I literally took a nap. I woke up with 10 to go and saw that Jade Buford and I think the 66 of JJ Yale or Tim Miller, someone were like, they were sitting 1-2. I'm like, what did I miss? Like, what? I didn't expect to take a nap that long because, I'm watching the race with Jordan Martin, and I tell Jordan, okay, I'm going to take a nap. If anything happens, just yell. It'll wake me up. And, he didn't wake me up, and then I came back with 10 to go, and then I'm like, dude, what? All this stuff's happening, and you never do it. Well, I didn't know when to wake you up. I'm like, what? Any excitement that happens, wake me up. So I was asleep for most of the Portland race, and boy, I missed some stuff.
Yeah, Jesse Iwuji was the first thing that jumps off of the page to me when you look at the fact that they were under caution, and I guess Ty Gibbs just got ran over from the 34. I saw after the race, I guess Jesse said that he thought he was supposed to pass Ty, thought Ty was giving him the bottom. Wasn't. It didn't work. I don't know if that really affected Ty Gibbs' race too much. Like I said, I wasn't really able to watch all of it, but from what I did catch at the end, saw AJ Allmendinger sneak through. It looked like for a second Myatt Snyder was going to win the race, so it was entertaining, but it was also kind of a shit show. I mean, we were racing in the rain, wet tires, all that, and it was kind of a mess.
Yeah.
When I started watching, I watched for almost an hour and didn't even see a green flag lap, so...
Yeah, that was the hour that I was asleep for because I took a
Yeah.
nap. And yeah, but uh, like I said, that first stage, I don't know, it was just like ugh, boring a little bit because Ty Gibbs was leading. But when I went to take my nap, AJ Allmendinger was a lap down. He couldn't even do a pace lap at Portland. He was going through the grass, had to bring the car down pit road. But yeah, I took a nap. He was a lap down. Obviously, some things happened, and I woke up, and all of a sudden, he had a fast car. All of a sudden, I'm like, what?
Yeah,
How did this
he was not
happen?
going to get denied either. He made sure he got up there.
No. Mm-mm.
He deserved it. Hey, if you're lap down and win the race, you deserve it in my book. So I give him credit for that. What we had Friday night, was Friday night the Gateway race, or they ran that on Saturday
Saturday.
during the day?
They
That's
ran
right.
it before the Portland race. Yep.
That's right. That's right. I was going through this. I was actually at the Circa Casino in Vegas when the truck race was on. And first off, Carson Hocevar, how about that whole clip where he's like in the car, like calling out for the safety workers to come help him is a little eye opening. I feel like, especially when you compare it to like the safety crews we just saw at the Indy
Yeah.
500.
See, here's the thing. The only downside I have with that, and it's not on the safety workers because people are like complaining about the safety workers and whatnot. Problem is, he put the window net down. And typically, over the years, that's been a sign of, okay, I'm okay. Da, 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 da. If he left the window net up, then they probably would have been there a lot sooner. But they're so used to drivers just having the window net down. They're like, oh, they're probably okay. But if you looked at the wreck, he got hit driver's side. You got
Yeah, actually,
I
got hit like right behind the left front tire, which is kind of dangerously around that, that well where your legs are in, by
yeah
the throttle, the brake pedal, all that stuff.
yeah. But that's the only issue I have. If you're like if you're hurt, leave the window net up. I know it's not like good, but if you leave the window net down, they're gonna think that okay, he's okay. But if they leave it up, they're like, oh, this dude's probably in some sort of pain and he can't get out of the car. He might not even be conscious. You don't know.
Yeah.
But fortunately, he was cleared by doctors to race at Sonoma this week. Daniel Suarez will be like on the sidelines waiting in case he needs to go out.
Yeah, I heard
But
I heard both of them might practice the truck just in case, they'll
yeah,
get Suarez in
they'll
during
have like
practice.
a they'll have like a 50-minute practice session because trucks haven't been to Portland. They haven't been to Sonoma in a while.
Yeah.
Um, they also haven't been to Portland in a while since the late '90s. But yeah, they'll try and get both of those drivers in. But good to see that Hocevar is okay and going to try and toughen this one out and race at Sonoma.
Yeah, and then we'll preview Sonoma here in a second. Then we had the Cup race at Gateway. Pretty good race, honestly. I was listening to that one on the way home, listened to the entire thing on Sirius XM, watched a little bit where I could. I liked it. I thought it was a good fit. I think St. Louis is definitely a town that needs like a NASCAR track. Just that area of the country. I guess Missouri is their second track. I think Kansas is in Kansas City, Missouri, but still a really good area of the country that I think needed to be hit, and I think the track performed both in area and in real life.
Oh yeah. I didn't even know that the track was nearing, foreclosure, bankruptcy, or whatever back in 2010. And then, I watched the first truck race that they had in 2014. I'm like, man, this is a really good track. I don't know why they ever stopped going here. And, you know, somehow they got a cup race back before an Xfinity race. I loved the Xfinity series going to Gateway. I don't know why we don't go there. I mean, Portland's okay, but I really want to see those Xfinity cars back at Gateway. And, the fact that they got a cup race and all the renovations that they've done to the track, whether it's fan experience, a repave of the track, redoing the infield, whatever it is, Gateway, it didn't disappoint. The first stage, we were watching it with a group of people. David Weishart's like, man, this race stinks. Like, there's nothing going on. And then Ross Chastain heard what Weishart said and was like, oh, okay, I'm going to spice
I'll make
things
it
up a bit.
interesting.
Well, bam, into Hamlin. And then, well, bam, into Chase Elliott. And then the next restart, Chase Elliott, well, bam, into Ross. And then Hamlin just doing an absolute troll job of just trying to slow the one down. Not even trying to wreck him. Just moving him low, stopping in front of him. It's like something that we've seen multiple times, Jake, in like our NASCAR leagues that we would do back on Xbox. Like
It was a troll job. That's the best way to put it.
It was literally a troll job where one guy would be mad at another driver, and then they would like try and stop them or try to wreck them, but the driver they're trying to wreck, they know that they're gonna get wrecked, so they just don't even try to go around it. They're just riding snail's pace,
Well,
not trying
it's
to
that
pass it.
perfect thing because then you get in trouble with the league owner, the admins, whatever. Hey, I never wrecked the guy. Technically, Danny didn't wreck Ross. Ross just was
No.
too scared to pass him because Denny was doing everything he could to try to block him and throw his game off. And we'll see where it goes from here. Denny kind of made some threats after the race, like he was gonna take it a step further right when the playoffs are coming around. So we'll see if it happens. And then you had Joey and Kyle Busch, like ultimate rivals. Like the dudes legitimately don't like each other. Going for the win at Gateway in front of a sold out crowd in St. Louis. I mean, it's like a perfect script, honestly, for NASCAR.
Yeah, I mean, kind of expected to be sold out for its first ever Cup race. Really, it was a really good race, but like, I've never seen the turn 1 and 2 grandstands actually be used at Gateway. I'm like, why do you even have it there if you're not going to use it? Well,
And it looked
this
cool
is
when it
why.
was full. Yeah,
Oh
it looked
yeah,
great.
absolutely. The front stretch absolutely packed. Turn 1 and 2 packed. Really good stuff. And like you mentioned, Joey Logano and Kyle Busch. Man, if that caution doesn't come out for Kevin Harvick, that would have been a great finish regardless. But they
Yep.
had a green white checker, and for some reason, Joey Logano likes to win at the first race new track that the Cup cars go to, whether it's the Coliseum, Bristol Dirt, Gateway. It don't matter. I mean, Kyle Larson won at Nashville, but other than that, it's just Joey Logano winning a new track. Nothing new.
Yeah, he's probably gonna like the schedule the next couple of years because I saw that Steve Phelps was over in San Francisco today, talking about their scheduling for 2023. I guess it's gonna come out in August, and they're gonna look. I think his quote was that he's gonna continue being bold with the schedule, which means that we're gonna continue getting random ass tracks and random new cities. So I'm kind of for it. I don't know if I'm sold on the street courses yet, but everything outside of that, I'm into. But speaking of street courses, we got a road course this weekend. We got Sonoma for the Cup and the Truck Series. Obviously, Xfinity Series is off, I think, for 2 weeks. They don't come back until NBC is our broadcast now for NASCAR, I believe.
Yep.
So we're going to get to watch the trucks. I'm excited because the trucks are my favorite series, and Sonoma is. I like Sonoma this layout that they're going to be running, the original layout versus the one we ran the last couple years. And then bringing the trucks back to it's going to be a nice mix. So I'm excited for this week. I think it's going to be two good races. I wanted to go now that I'm out here in California, and then I looked it up, and it's like a 7.5 hour drive to Sonoma. So I guess I'll hold off on that one.
Yeah, and Sonoma, they're going back to the OG layout of the track back when they last ran it in 2018, because
Yeah.
2019 and 2021 they ran the carousel part in the infield, like uh, uh the track before they added on to it. Um, and I was like, oh, this is new. I'm okay to new, and then saw the first race there that they ran the other portion of the track, and I'm like, yeah, nah, it doesn't hit the same. So they're going
Yeah.
back to the old layout where you'd see those cars get super wide and nearly hit the wall that sticks out.
Yes, that was what I was about to say. That's like one of the best corners in the season.
Oh,
You have them like
absolutely.
going downhill into that sharp right hander, like you said, going off track and squeezing back in before the wall peaks out, and then straight down into the hairpin turn is like it's chef's kiss. It's perfect. I love it.
Yes, absolutely. Can't wait to see that for not only the cup cars but the trucks as well. That'll be
And
fun.
then I honestly for trucks, I'm not sure is who's running the 7 truck. Do they got I'm assuming the Hendrick guys in the truck this weekend?
I believe it's Bowman. I believe it's Alex Bowman that's
Okay.
running it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think whoever is in that truck is gonna be a heavy favorite, and then obviously Kyle Busch and the 51 is almost a lock as you can get, but we'll see. We'll see how the truck race goes, and then the Cup race on Sunday. It's gonna be what Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson. That's probably it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you never know. I'll say there's going to be a good bit of cup drivers trying to go in and get some experience with the truck before they get into the cup car. I mean, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
it's a good deal too.
yeah.
Track
So
time is
Alex Bowman's in the 7. Harrison Burton's in the 17. Austin Dillon is in the number 20 car.
that's
They're still
Austin Wayne
trying to.
oh no, that's the Spencer Boyd's truck, I guess.
Yeah, that's the number 20. Uh, Ross Chastain's going to be in the 41. Daniel Suarez might be in the
The
42
42,
for
yeah.
Hocevar.
Well,
Kyle
he'll be
Busch,
in
we
it at
already
some
know.
point. We just don't know if it'll be during the race, I guess. He'll definitely be there
Yeah.
for practice.
And Kyle Busch, we already know. He's going to be in there.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to watching that race. What is it, Saturday, I'm assuming, during the day?
Saturday at, I believe, 7:50.
Oh yeah,
It's going
because
to
we're
be
on the West Coast.
little late on the East Coast. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's going to be 7:30 for the truck race and 4 p.m. Eastern for the Cup race.
Yeah, so that'll be fun to watch this weekend, and then like perfectly in sync. Somehow our area schedule is like really off sync with NASCAR, but at the same time it's like on sync because they're going to Sonoma road course racing. We're going road course racing next week. We got COTA. I like how you wrote. Did you write this in the notes? Giant ass road course.
Yes.
I like it. I mean, that's a good way to think. Our lap times are 2 minutes 15 seconds. We're going to be running around there. We have that caution that's coming out. Last year, our cautions were at the 50% mark of the race. This year, it's going to be at the 1/3 mark of the race, and we're only running 30 laps in the Cup Series, so it's going to be a caution on lap 10. I think the pace laps are like 5 minutes apiece. So Hunter, you might want to get some commercials or something ready for the broadcast on Monday because we're going to be under caution for like 15 straight minutes there. Yeah, but at least you only have one caution in that race, and then the rest of it's going to be going green. Early favorites. David Wisehart's going to kill me for saying this, but Nick Johnston has been getting talked up like crazy. He ran our testing race we had in the offseason. We ran the next gens at COTA. He was very fast. David Weishart was very fast as well as Cameron Hearn. But then a sleeper pick was the guy you picked at Charlotte. James Scioli is a sneaky, sneaky good road course racer. So I would definitely watch for him as well on Monday. But I'm more excited about the track. I think COTA is going to be cool. When we kind of brought up the schedule, Hunter, a lot of the things the admin team look at is what would we race best on and how do we take advantage of the service that we have with iRacing. And initially, our kind of rough draft of the schedule, I had just put Watkins Glen back on there. It's a road course we went to last season. It's a great road course. It's consistent. You always kind of get the same racing. I was cool just going back there. But then a lot of the admins and the admin team kind of talked to me and said, look, man, we have this great service with so many different road courses, and all of them are pretty good for the most part. It would almost be like a disservice to just stick at Watkins Glen every season. So we switched it up. So we're going to COTA, and I'm interested to see how it goes.
I'm interested as well, and if those pace laps are going to be something else, there
Yeah.
better only be two pace laps.
Yeah, that's the only thing I am worried about. A lot of times it'll give you those quick cautions, but if there's a lap car, sometimes it adds an extra lap. So I guess just if you're watching at home or if you're in the broadcast booth, just hope nobody gets lapped before like lap 10. So then at least it shortens the caution by an extra lap. That's going to be the goal.
Yeah, man, those are going to be something else. Those pace laps are going to feel like an eternity.
Yeah,
Oh man,
and then
I'm
the
looking
track
forward to the
alone.
race though. Yep.
Yeah, the track alone is interesting. You got that super tight. I guess it's not really tight. It's just a sharp turn one, that hairpin turn, a lot of real estate. We're probably in the Cup cars. Everybody's probably going to wreck and turn one. Honestly, everybody all week's going to wreck and turn one. Probably, it's probably going to be a little bit of a shit show. But that's going to be fun. We got a good race. I think for Monday's going to be exciting. I'm more excited to see if all the shit talking I was doing with David Weishart and Cameron Hearn really works. Because I want to see them go out there and really put on a good show for everybody watching.
Yeah, I feel like the trouble spots are probably going to be turn one going uphill and then coming back down through the S's. I feel
Yeah,
like the
those
rest of the
S's are
track
tricky.
it'll be fine. I'm looking forward to probably the Xfinity cars the most because
Yeah.
Travis Beckner he's been a huge advocate for wanting to come back in the Cup Series and do COTA, but we'll have to hold off for I believe the Truck Series also, but the Xfinity cars
No,
I feel like he'll be
Travis.
one I feel like he'll be one to watch out for there. I'm already calling it. Beckner is my pick for the Lodge Box Series.
Travis does race on Tuesday too. He is in the truck series, so I'm sure he's going to be a factor there. But the most important thing I think for this COTA race that a lot of people aren't really thinking about is that playoff battle. That playoff battle that we were talking about earlier on in the show. You know, a lot of these guys are 15 points out, 15 points in, whatever it may be. My situation on Tuesday, I think I'm about 20 points above the cut line, but I am terrible at road course. I've never been a good road course racer. It's been something I've kind of tried to work on a little bit the last 6 months. Worked on my license on iRacing to try to just get more experience. I'm just not good at it. So it'll be interesting to watch how those bubble guys perform in, who practices because they need to, try to stay in the playoffs. I know Ryan Swan, like we were talking about, trying to maintain his spot in the Cup playoffs. He's been practicing the Cup car at COTA. So I'm more curious to see how the non-road course racers fare at a track like COTA, with some practice and trying to hold on to that playoff spot. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting there as well. So, Lodge Box already made my pick. Travis Beckner. I'm gonna go with
we can't do our
Ryan.
picks just yet. We got to recap our picks. We got to recap our picks in the next segment,
yeah.
and then we'll do the recap, and then we'll do our new picks. But yeah, so I guess we can end it there for COTA, and we'll move on over to our picks.
Whoa. All right. Hold up. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. We need a little refresh here from our sponsor at Swift Lifestyles. Fans, be sure to visit our sponsor, Swift Lifestyles, for clean supplements that can help improve your focus and gaming. Like me, I need a little replenish in my energy right now. I'm starting to lose it a little bit. I got to get refocused back in. And luckily, I can use discount code Area iRacing for 15% off my entire order. Like I could buy the whole website and save 15% off. Really good stuff. And Jake mentioned they got some merch as well. Like they got comfy shorts that, I'm a big shorts guy, so I always enjoy comfy pair of shorts. And I gotta admit, they are pretty comfy. But go ahead
Big
and
shorts guy, huh?
big shorts guy. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and check them out. Swift Lifestyle. Use the discount code Area iRacing for 15% off. Your entire order could be my order, could be your order, could be anyone's order. But now that we got that, I'm refocused, replenished. Let's get back to it. All right, we're back. We're ready to make our picks. We're ready to recap our picks as well. So let's go ahead and do that, Jake. So we made some picks back in episode 1 for Charlotte. Now, for the Cup side of things, I didn't get the driver right, but I got the team right. So I really don't know what this whole points thing is looking, because it's looking like you got more points than me, and I don't even know how this works.
Well, yeah, we went ahead. You picked Scioli on Monday night. He ended up with a 17th place finish, got you 27 points. I took Cameron Hearn from Monday night. He got me a 7th place finish, which, by the way, interesting stat, boring stat probably for a lot of these people. Cameron Hearn's done 70 something races in the league. He's only finished 6th through 10th twice. He's got one 6th place finish and one 7th place finish. So pretty much if he's going to finish in the top 10, it's going to be inside the top 5. So interesting stat. He knocked the 7th place finish off of his resume. So now you can add that to his area history stats. But yeah, he got me a 7th place finish, 38 points. So technically, I beat you on Monday night by a little bit. Got an 11-point gap there.
How do the points work? Why does Scioli have 27 and Hearn has 30? How does that
So we're
work?
going by finishing position. Like whatever finishing position points they would get, that's the points we're going with.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense
So that's
now.
why you got to pick like people that are consistent a little bit too, so that they can get you some points even if they don't win. So yeah, that was our picks on Monday night. Tuesday night, you took Paul Urban, which honestly not a bad pick. I was kind of vibing with it there. I was actually racing around Paul at the very end of the race. We had a photo finish for 13th, by the way. Not that anybody in the world cares about it, but to me it was cool. You took Paul Urban. He got you a 14th place finish, but he led 10 laps, so he got a bonus point there.
Hey, he got the pole.
And he got the pole, so he got 2 bonus points. That's why he ended up with 32 points off of that 14th place finish on Tuesday night. And then I took Garrett Grant. Honestly, almost won the freaking race, led the most laps. He got me 39 points. Like I said, he led a lap and led the most laps, so a couple bonus points there. And then transitioning over to Thursday night for our Lodge Box Series picks, you went ahead and took Richard Thomas
Yep.
With a solid race. Honestly, probably could have finished a couple positions better than where he did. He was having a really good night. Finished 15th though. Ultimately, got you 29 points on the day. And then I took Colin Fambro, who was a sneaky almost winner on Thursday night. If he hadn't got into that trouble with, I believe it was a lap car at the time, and ended his night, but he got me a 28th place finish. My worst night of the week with 17 points. But when you put the total together from our 3 nights of picks, you ended up with 88. Go figure. That's your number. I ended up with 94. So I did get that 6-point lead already after week 1, but now we got picks for week 2, and you get to go first.
Yeah, I'll say 88 ever. Shout out Dale Jr., best race car driver ever. Don't care what anyone has to say. It's not Kyle Larson. It's not Kyle Busch. It ain't Dale Sr. It's Dale Jr., baby. But yeah, going ahead, the Xfinity. I already made
Let's do
my
Cup
pick.
first. Let's do
Let's do
Cup.
Cup. Yep.
Okay.
Uh, Gosh, Cup. It's gonna be tough. Everybody's picking Nick Johnston.
I'm hyping him up so much so that hopefully he under delivers is honestly the goal. Because if Nick Johnson wins, it puts a lot of my team in jeopardy for playoffs. So personal
uh,
vendetta there.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna go with him. Nick Johnston. Give it to me.
I was gonna pick him to like double down on it, but I don't. I like it though. So you're gonna take Nick Johnson. You
Yep.
probably just became public enemy number 1 for Cameron Hearn and David Weishart. So bold strategy there. I am gonna go. This is tough. Well, I'm going to go with, I guess, what the ultimate plan is, right? If I keep hyping up Nick Johnston, hopefully it makes David Weishart and Cameron Hearn and James Skyler, hopefully it makes all those guys put in a shit ton of practice so that they come out blazing fast on Monday. That's the goal. And I'm gonna hope it works. So I guess if you're gonna take Nick Johnston, I gotta go with last week's winner. He's gonna go back to back. This is like the David Weishart episode, I guess, because we had him on the pod. We talked about how he won, and I'm gonna pick him for Monday night. David Weishart is going to be my pick.
All right. Those are going to be our Cup picks. Now, shifting gears over to the truck side of things because the trucks are Tuesday night. I'm going to go ahead and go with Ryan Hart. I feel like he'll be one to watch out for the road courses.
I don't know about Hart's road course ability. I feel like I've never even seen him on a road course. So, I guess that's a good pick. I mean, he is one of my drivers, my teammate on JBR. So I'll say that's a great pick, actually. Hopefully we can get that number 3 Rick's Hot Sauce Chevy up front and in victory lane. But I am going to pick the guy who won the road course race last season. He did have to put the bumper to Travis Beckner at Watkins Glen. But I think he's just going to come out and kind of flex a little bit more muscle. And if not, I think he at least gets me good points. So give me James Shanewolf, that number 31 truck on Tuesday night.
Ooh, okay. So those are our picks for the truck series, and Lodgebox already made my pick. Travis Beckner. He's been itching to get back in the Cup Series and run the road course race, but fortunately he cannot do that. So he'll give it his all for Thursday night in the Lodgebox Series. Beckner's my pick. No ifs or buts about it.
I like it. I mean, honestly, that is a good pick. If anybody in here knows Travis Beckner and how he's been on the road courses, you would understand that that's a great pick. But I am gonna go. I feel like my voice is starting to go. By the way, a lot of talking tonight. But anyways, I am gonna go Thursday night. The guy who should have won the Daytona road course probably last season in Xfinity if it wasn't the most fucked up race ever where he got DQ'd actually halfway through the race. I'm going to go James Scioli. Could have went with him on Monday night, but instead I'm going to go with his teammate. So Thursday night, give me the number 7. James Scioli, Rick's Hot Sauce Chevrolet goes to victory lane at COTA.
Okay. So those are our picks for COTA, and in the next episode we'll be talking about how our picks did, and we'll be talking about it with our next guest. Who is it going to be? Oh, you don't know just yet. You gotta wait until episode number 3.
Yeah, we need you guys. Let us know who should be the guest for episode number 3. Honestly, there wasn't a huge outcry after episode number 1, so we kind of went with who we thought was a safe bet. We wanted to talk to Wiseheart. He's one of our good buddies. We talk to him all the time, so kind of flowed naturally. But who's going to be a good guest for episode number 3? You guys are going to have to let us know.
I don't know. It's the Dale episode, so we might have to get someone who's a big
Ryan
Dale
Hart
person.
drives the number 3.
Oh, maybe.
Who
You
knows?
never know.
Got to stick with the 3 for Dale, huh?
Yeah, 3 for Dale. I was gonna say maybe maybe Cameron Hearn as well, because he was a little
No.
upset. He was a little upset that he didn't get to be the first interviewed.
Yeah, that was a great video. If you guys haven't seen that video, go to our Twitter at Area Happy Hour and go to you see Cameron Hearn crying, because that video is hilarious. That he, like Hunter said, he wasn't the first guest, started crying about it. Great video, 10 out of 10. But yeah, no, I like the idea of that though. For the Dale episode number 3, maybe we got to do. You know who's a big Dale Earnhardt fan actually? Dale Senior fan really is Brad Slaughter, and Dale Junior fan. Maybe Brad Slaughter. Who knows? Hey, there's a lot of good guests right there. I said though, Cameron Hearn, we're gonna have to make him wait. We're gonna have to push that episode like back to episode 20 or something. So who knows? Who knows? We're gonna have to see what you guys say on the social channels, on the YouTube, when this premieres Friday at probably like noon, I guess, Eastern time. And then obviously it's gonna be playing on Spotify like Friday morning early. But we'll be putting it out there tomorrow. So yeah, that's what we got.
Yep. I think we're going to cut it here because it's almost 3 a.m.
And my voice is gone.
Jake's voice is gone. I'll take it over from here. But like I said, it's almost 3 a.m. here on the East Coast. Jake's voice is almost gone. It's almost midnight over there in California.
Yeah.
Kind of nuts. But yeah, we'll be talking more about everything that happened from COTA for area, everything that happened in Sonoma for NASCAR, and everything in between with our special guest, who you'll have to wait until episode 3 to figure out who that is. And until then, we'll see you guys later.